Hi Andy, so we're going to do your cards for your reading. Now I have already shuffled the deck for you. So this is the one that we're going to go off the deck here, but while I was shuffling it, we had a couple that popped out. So normally I always like to keep the ones that pop out because there's a reason why. We need to talk about a few things like that. So we'll go through and we'll have a look at the cards and then we'll just sort of go through, we'll find out what comes out. I sort of put in things where you're looking at love, direction, future, and things like that. So we'll go off and have a bit of a look. So we'll flip the first card here. So this one's talking about crystals. So this is a couple of situations. Now I do say to people sometimes the title means something, sometimes it's a picture, sometimes it's the whole lot. And I'm finding we've got the whole lot here. So we'll talk about this one. Crystals. If you're a person that is spiritual, even if you're not, look at ideas and open your horizon to do with things with crystals. You're going to find that crystals work with you. You're a person that is good with energy transfer, things like that. This is just saying this is something that you would be quite good at. Now, if we look at the card as well, we look at the being sitting up on the unicorn here. This is representing you. Now, if we look at how we read a book, we read it from left to right. Going right, we're going in a forward direction. So that's the same thing here with this unicorn. You're going in a forward direction. You do need to have some healing coming back with the crystal that we've got here. Very, very faint. I don't know if you can see this. We've got a rainbow. She's holding up a rainbow. So that's to do with abundance. Now, I do feel that there's abundance of love. We look at the two little beings that are down here. You're moving in a forward direction, and that's heading you into another realm with another love. So don't give up on hope. Don't give up on love and things like this. Just sometimes things don't work out. You're definitely going in the right direction. So you need to have faith in yourself above everything. Now, if we look at the back here and in the front, we've got a lot of nature. So there's a lot of stuff you want to do in regards to nature. So get back to basics. Get out with nature. You need to do some real serious healing processes. Go through the stages. Now, you're currently, because you have been hurt, things have gone on in your world at the moment, your barrier's up. You kind of have the Great Wall of China up at the moment. So what you want to do is make sure you heal yourself and then bring them down once done. We're animals of repetition. Once we have things up or we go in a certain way for so long, that becomes normality. And then we forget to take those barriers down. You don't want to do that. So make sure you have them up while you're healing, because it's a quicker healing process when you have your barriers up. But when you feel ready to move on, bring the barriers down. That's one thing people forget. This is a nice card for you. Positive change. So I'll just sort of move the cards around a little bit here. Positive change. This is something that's it's probably one of the best positive cards that we can have come out. Positive change. Now, I'm not sure if you know much about numerology, the cycle of 9. So we're talking about 9-year cycles. So 2017 is the start of a new 9-year cycle. So what that means, whatever you set up, whatever happens in 2017 will carry you over for the next 8 years. So 9 years if we include 2017, if that makes sense. Now, with this particular card coming up, and we've got the wheel behind that, that seems to do with the wheel of the year moving forwards and such like that. What's happening to you is going to be in a positive way. So if you have found things have crumbled from anywhere between halfway through last year to now, being in 2017, it's for a reason. Things that no longer serve you, things that have become stagnant, things that just don't make you happy anymore, are being shed away from you. Things are shifting, things are moving, stuff like that. Now, right now, sometimes we don't feel that. We think it's just our world falling apart. You need to look at it in the way of, all right, the things that no longer serve me are being shed away. They're being washed away, things like that, for a better future, if that makes sense. Hold on to that hope that there is a better future for you, because that's what's happening. Now, I am feeling quite drawn to this up near her eye. I'm finding things to do with the third eye. So if you don't know much about chakras, look it up. So it's CHARKRA, chakras. We have so many chakras in the body, but we have 7 main ones that go up to our head, down our spine area down to our toes. We have 7 main chakras. Now the one that's sitting on the head is the third eye. So what that means is that means that there's abilities that you have. Now, as humans, we all have abilities. They're just dormant in some more than others. So if it's something that you've wanted to do to help get you on track to where you need to be, where your direction is, things like that, look at doing those kind of things. Look at opening that third eye. If you haven't thought about it before, look into spiritualism. Both these 2 cards are highly spiritual, and they've both popped up for you to consider affirmations for yourself. So really research some things. Now, this is only if you want to. It's just giving you the potential to say, you know what, there's some things here that you can do if you would like to do them. Then we have this one, let it go. So you've gone through the works at the moment. You really have. You've had some things going on, as we know, in regards to relationships, marriages, things like that. This is very symbolic and really in your face, so to speak, where we've got the wedding dress on, pouring out, the bottle, things like that, saying, you know what, let it go. Things have happened, let it go. You don't have to forgive people. You don't have to forget situations of what's happened. Just the feelings that you're feeling, you want to let them go to go into the new future, if that makes sense. To change your direction. Because what's happening is if you're looking over your shoulder, you're looking at the past. You're not looking towards the future. So what you want to do is have a mantra for yourself. Say things when you're getting down and out. Have a mantra, a phrase, something that you say to pull yourself back up. It can be as simple as, do not let my past define my future. Something as simple as that can help. Now, in this particular one, we're surrounded by water, we're surrounded by nature. The first card had nature in it as well. So you definitely want to get back to nature, whether you go on a camping trip, whether you go out and stand on your grass and do some grounding exercises. You really want to get back to nature. Nature is a way that we can heal ourselves. Look at the elements. We have 4 main elements and we have a 5th if we include spirit. So for people that aren't spiritual, let's go with 4. They're the 4 elements of nature. So we have got fire, water, air, and earth. So they're things that can help us. Now, you really need to do some cleansing work, some purification work to help heal. That's your biggest situation that I think that we're going to get from this is you're going to have a lot of healing work to overcome, if that kind of makes sense. So get back to nature, go on a walk, go stand out. People talk about meditation. Now, people can really struggle with meditation because you're taught not to focus on anything in particular. What I suggest to people is to modernize it a little bit in the shower. So I run in a lot of pagan groups where people have tried meditating for years and it just hasn't worked. People that are organized, people that have an active mind, people that just like to get up and go, they don't like just being couch potatoes and doing nothing with their life. People that are like that find it really and extremely difficult to meditate because we're taught not to think about anything. When we're taught to not think about anything, it makes a void in our mind. So what happens then? We have a million different threads of thoughts and actions going on in our head. Oh, I do apologize. So that can be quite difficult for people, and I find you can be a little bit like that too. So let's modernize it. Let's go to the shower, for example. Now, what I suggest to people is to have the lights turned off just because it can be a little bit harsh, especially when you're learning. I do suggest, however, to have a candle. Candles are really good because it's a natural light, it's ancient, it's old flame. So even having the flame with fire, it's a form of cleansing element. And it's also a nice little light when you get out of the shower that you're not going to trip over yourself. So you can have the water coming down on the front, on the back, completely on the top of you. It's totally up to you. What I'll get you to do, and this is something I do suggest to do this, close your eyes and breathe through your nose. Breathe in. Now, colours are completely up to you. What I suggest is to breathe in a white, gold, glowy light. That's all positive energies coming to you. Then when you're ready, slowly breathe out through the mouth. Breathe out brown light. Now really, the colours are completely up to you. It's what you would idolize and see as positive and negative. They're just the colours that I use. Breathe out brown light. Now that's all the negative energy, all those things, people have negative thoughts or negative conversations. People have said things about you, to you in a negative way. Same thing in yourself. Reflect out things that you've said, things you've thought in a negative way. Toxic people, toxic situations, even the food we eat, the chemicals, things like that. Breathe that all out. Now, if you just breathe that out and leave that sitting in the home, it's just going to stay in the home. So by the time you get out of the shower, get changed, it can very well smack you back in the face and it was all for naught. So let's add a little bit of science into it. So I suggest to people, when we add science into it, we breathe in oxygen and we send out carbon dioxide. Who eats the carbon dioxide? The trees do. So what you want to do is when you breathe out that brown light, send it out your bathroom window and send it to the trees. It can be a tree or a bush that's sitting in your backyard. You can send it to a park, so many streets over. Send it out of the home, send it to the trees to be cleansed. Do that as frequently as you would like, whether you're in the shower for 2 minutes, whether you're in there for 20 minutes, whether you do it every night, whether you do it once a month, it's totally up to you. That is something I can guarantee by the time you get out of the shower, you get dry off, you get changed, you're going to feel a lot better. Now, in regards to also doing that meditation, it's quick, it's easy, it's simple. Now, with that particular meditation, you're taught to focus on one thing. So that's where that meditation works, because you're actually taught with visualization. So it is a form of breathing technique. It is a form of meditation, it's a form of grounding, and it's a form of shielding, and it's also a form of cleansing with the water. So it sort of ticks a lot of boxes, so it works for a lot of people. So again, working sort of in the pagan community that I'm in, I've told this to a lot of people, especially when it comes up in the cards where it's like, all right, we need to do some meditation work, we need to do some cleansing work. There's people that have tried meditating for years, they haven't been able to do it. There's people that have done this for after 2 weeks, suddenly they're seeing things. Now, if it is something, there's people that want to see gods, goddesses, things like that, spirit animals, spirit guides and such like that. Then there's people that want to see past loved ones, or, if they want to do medium work, stuff like that. That's helped them. Then there's people that just want to find direction. So being able to see prophetic images. That's something that can help you with direction, things like that. Even a future spouse, things like that. That kind of stuff can come up. So that's something that I would highly suggest. So we'll go back and we'll actually start going through the deck now. Now, we've kind of already talked about this one, purification. So this is where we're talking about the bath and things like that. So I had a feeling that this would come up. So see where we've got all these we've got all these circles, we've got all these barriers, we've got all these spikes sort of coming up. That's constantly you at the moment. Now, that's fine to have that up while you're healing, but you do definitely want to bring that down once you've healed, because once you've healed and you still have them up, you're not going to go on with life in a happy way. You're going to get in that rut. You're going to get in that repetition of what you may very well be going through now. That won't change. You'll have a potential spouse coming along and you will completely miss them. They'll be completely off your radar because you have all your barriers up, your guards up, things like that. So that is something that you want to do, is you want to be able to make sure you heal but bring them down. Make sure you do things with water too. So then we have the card here, fertility. Now, fertility is in a range of a few things. Now, I don't see from this particular card, being another father or anything like that if you don't want to. I do see more so this card has come up in regards to a new project. Something like that. Now, if it's something that you've wanted to start, look at your moon cycles. Look at the moon phases. Currently, we've been in the full moon and we're heading down in towards a new moon. So that's called the waning phase. So what happens in the waning phase is that's when there's things that no longer serve us, we want out of our life. That is not a good time to start a project because you're wanting to bring intentions in and things like that. Wait till you get to the new moon, and if there's something that you want to do, that is when I would suggest to do it. So if you've had ideas of something that you've wanted to do, have a look now, get ideas, get sort of plans into motion if you want, but start it in the waxing phase. So that's when there's nothing in the sky with the moon, it's a brand new moon, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it's a full moon. That's stuff that I'm finding will really work with you in quite detail, and that's when a lot of feminine energies come into play. Now that's something where you are lacking a lot of feminine energies, things like that. Now, things with the moon, so we're talking about the moon cycle, that will really help you as well. Again, if you're not, I would suggest certain crystals and things like that. Selenite is a big one that would really help with feminine energies, things like that. So definitely that's something that I would suggest to look at and things like that as well. We got the old priorities card. So currently, let's look at this as where you are. You're kind of like old King Solomon now. You've got the hands thrown up in the air in the middle of the dark going, what the hell has happened to my life? I'm assuming you feel very, very much like this card right now. We look up the top up here where we've got this shining big star coming up. That's, the phrase where we talk about there's light at the end of the tunnel. That's what you have to realize and go, you know what? We're going through the works at the moment, but there is light at the end of the tunnel for you. There is, greener pastures coming up, things like that. You're just sort of sitting in the whirlwind at the moment after, it's been destructive. It's come in, it's wiped you off your feet. You're sitting on the ground going, what the hell just happened? Just know things are aligning and things are happening for you. You don't feel it at the moment, but it is. What I would suggest to you with the priorities as well is to write down your priorities. What means things to you in life? Now, focus on writing your priorities like an upside down triangle, so the point at the bottom. Right at the top, your biggest priority. What is your biggest priority in life? And do it to you, not involving anyone else or anything like that, any dependence or anything like that. What is your biggest priority to you? And then so on and so forth until it gets really small where you're like, yeah, I can live without that, yes or no sort of thing. Definitely write that down on a piece of paper or something like that. Rip it off the pad and then put it on the fridge. Have it close near you, something like that. So every couple of days you can just go back and recheck that. Now, writing that kind of stuff down is also a form of therapy, and that's something that will help you as well. Now, don't be a bit of a macho man and be like, oh no, I can't be bothered to do that. Really do it. Coming up in the cards, it will really help you, and that's something that I would suggest for you. So definitely write those particular scenarios down, because you definitely have light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, so then we have coming down here, drink more water. Now, this is actually physically in the sense, drink more water. We were talking about cleansing and purification with water and things like that. So we can do the outside. It's good to do a little bit of the inside as well. Now, when we say drink more water, you really need to drink more water. You're quite fatigued, you're quite drained, things like that. Drinking more water will help you. That's something you definitely want to do. Now, feel free to message me. I know a lot of men don't get like this, but and they don't sort of really accept that kind of help. But I would suggest to look up ways to make moon water as well. So when we have the full moon, that stuff you can do. Research it if you want, or message me if you are interested. It's just a matter of getting the moon rays in the water. Very easy to do. You just have to do it on the full moon. If you are interested, it's something that I would suggest for you as well, because it's very, very helpful. It's kind of like drinking soft water. It's very easy to make. I would find that this would actually be quite beneficial for you as well. So if you are interested, message me about that and we can have a bit of a chat about that. Very easy to do. I do see, however, from this particular card as well, things to do with travel. So I do feel that you will be doing some traveling in the coming months, towards even early next year, things like that. Something about a trip. And if you haven't thought about it, or you have thought about it, but kind of just brushed it off, really, really delve in and have a look at these things. Because I feel you definitely need a holiday. You definitely need to do something, even if it's a weekend away. I do feel it's going to be a bit of a genuine holiday for you, so that's something that I would suggest to do as well. Now, I am quite drawn down here to the big cat that's down here, whether or not you have a feline at home, or if you have a pet or something like that. If you don't, I would suggest to get one, so it's a companion for you. You need something where you can just have that unconditional love at the moment. So if you don't, I suggest to get one, if you are able to get one, depending if you're like in a rental or something like that, but source that out. This is something right now that you need to do to get you through. So you need to focus upon your strengths. Again, I would write this down. I would write down what are your pros and what are your cons. What are your strengths? What are your flaws? Because what you want to do is those flaws, work on them until you turn them into strengths. So that then becomes a part of your enlightenment, you know, where you're going to get to a hurdle. There's nothing stopping you back. You're going to be able to blitz straight through that. Work on those situations. For example, a lot of people aren't good at public speaking, things like that. Work on those things so you are good at doing those things. Just situations. Because I feel one of these flaws that you may have or one of these cons will help you out financially in regards to work as well. So look at those ideas of evolving and look at those flaws of turning them into strengths and being able to sort of get over certain hurdles, because I find it's going to help you in more than one avenue. Oh, I do apologise. This is something that's been evolving around you at the moment, you know, with the current energies of what's going on in your life. Do not fret. There is definitely someone around the corner for you, somebody that was meant for you. This is why we have the shift that's happening in 2017 where things seem to be crashing around us, you know, things like that. People don't see it until down the track when they've healed. This is your end game, this particular card, to go, you know what, there's someone out there for you that is more suited and it's going to work out for you. Now, I am quite drawn to these four little birdies down here. There's something to do about four, but then we also have a fifth down here as well. I do feel with this particular one down here, there's something special about the fifth one down here. But say, for example, this could be a date. You meet someone, that someone could have a child, something like that. Look out for those ideas, but something to do with four, and then we've got the little one down here. So keep an eye on that one, definitely. You know what? And I'm feeling a lot of things with the beach. We've got the beach in the background, things like that. The landscape and things like that in cards. Sometimes I have something to do with it, sometimes I don't. But I feel quite a draw over here to the rocks, to the beach and things like that. So whether you need to push and go for walks on the beach or things like that, you may very well meet this person on the beach. You know, something to do about an event with the beach or the ocean or something like that. But definitely get out. Get out on the beach and do some things as well. Peace offering. This is a bit of a double-edged sword here that we have. One thing, we have a bit of a peace offering. This is something that you want to do. There's a person you're evolving around at the moment where it's not in a nice way. It's upset feelings, negative impact, stuff like that. You need to do a peace offering with that person. You don't have to forgive them. You don't have to forget about situations, but you want to do a peace offering for your own peace. You know, just sort of cut those ties and go, you know what? I'm moving on. That's something you have to do. Otherwise, you will never heal from that. Then on the other side, we have with the peace offering is we've got the big white buffalo down here. In Native American times, the white buffalo was one of the most sacred animals there is. You are representing that white buffalo at the moment. This is to do on spiritual sides. So surprisingly, this card has come out saying, you know, things to do with spiritualism is a key for you, is a direction that you want to go in. If it's something you haven't thought about before, it is something that I would highly suggest to look at, because this card is coming up and it only comes up for people that are highly spiritual. So if it's something where you're just sort of, oh yeah, I've sort of thought about ideas and things and it sounds nice, but I've never done it, really look into it, because it's an affirmation for you saying, you know what, you have a lot of abilities. They may very well lay dormant, but you have a lot of abilities that want to come out and will then in turn help you get you to your next level. Things like that. So that's something that I would suggest research is going to be key. Things on Facebook, things on social media, things that are going to help you research things. If you've got to spare 10 minutes, 15 minutes, research a lot of things, because I feel like you're going to get a new direction, you're going to get a new path, you're going to be looking through and you're just going to have a light bulb moment and go, oh, this really resonates with me. Things like that. So that is very well something that I would suggest for you to do as well. If there's certain things that you've kind of dipped toes into and you think it sounds all right, really push it. Go forward and look into these ideas, because you are the key to your own path, if that makes sense. we've got this particular card, mother, wife, sister, daughter. Now we've got this sitting off directly from this one here, okay? So that's who this person is going to be. She's going to be a mother. She's going to be a wife. She is also a sister and she's someone's daughter. These will come into cahoots with you. So there'll be a direct link there. This is your happily ever after, if this makes sense, okay? So don't stress right now about, situations and what's going on. It is upsetting about stuff that's happened, but go, you know what? This was a hurdle in my life. I'm overcoming that. I have a direction. I have a purpose. Don't keep looking over your shoulder going, what if, maybe, buts. The past is the past. Look to the future because you have a nice, shining, green future ahead of you. In this particular card, I am drawn to the heart down here. So obviously with issues that are going on at the moment, you've got some heart chakra issues going on. You want to be able to work those things, fix them. I'm quite drawn down here to the wrist. She's wearing a little cuff down here. Something to do with your wrists. Have you had issues with your wrists or things like that? But something to do with wrists. So just keep that up your back sleeve. Sometimes I don't know what they mean. I'm just drawn to them, so I like to say, because what happens is either A, you know about it, it resonates with you, or B, this is something that's going to come up in the future. It's going to make sense down the track. Something to do about that cuff that I'm seeing. Something to do with wrists or something. But keep an eye on that. Then we got after here, artistic expression. So two things. Again, we've got to do with love. So that's probably your biggest question that you had at the moment is things to do with future love, future spouses, things like that. So that's come up quite nicely. The biggest card in the deck is the Twin Flames. That's the first one that popped out. Artistic expression is all to do with how you're feeling, how they're feeling, things like that. Make sure when the time is right, you'll know who the person is when they come along. Tell them how you're feeling. We've been quite drawn down here to the throat, and he's kind of like holding his chest. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed to say how you feel. The worst thing you can do is not to say how you're feeling, okay? That's stuff that will get you in trouble down the track where just things may not work out. This has possibly happened to you up until, today, where you don't say some things. You want to open up. You want to talk more. So we're talking again about the chakras. Third chakra's closed down a little bit because you don't speak up. That's issues where we can have where we don't want to hurt a person. We can't be bothered, we know an argument's going to come from it. But what happens is you end up hurting yourself more because you close your throat chakra down. So really work on those things. Now, I am being quite drawn to the artistic wording up here that we've got. If there's something you're good at, crafty-wise, things like that, I mean, you could paint, you could draw, things like that, but something you're good at, get back into it. If it's a hobby or something like that, get back into it because it's going to be your saving grace. You really want to be able to have something fun to do where you bring back that spark for life, if that makes sense. So you're currently in a bit of a rut at the moment. So it's the whole get up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, go to bed, get up, and you just do it again. It's a repetition, you're in a rut, and it's draining, and it's really soul-destroying. Do some things to spruce it up a little bit. If you're a person that likes golf, go out with people and go golfing. Just change it up. If you're a person that likes fishing, go for a fishing trip or something like that. Clear and shield your energy. This is something you definitely want to do. Go out, stand on the grass. Do like that shower meditation I was talking about with in with the gold light, out with the brown. Things like that. Clear and shield your energy. Something I cannot stress enough. Ground yourself. Go out, stand on the grass, do the same sort of meditation cycle with the breathing in the nose, out through the mouth. You're going to feel a lot better. If you're a person that likes crystals, look at crystals that help to ground and shield you. One I can suggest is black tourmaline, one of the best ones to have. Black obsidian's a really good one as well. A lot of your dark colours, a lot of your black colour crystals are good for protection, are good for grounding, and are good for shielding. So keep that up your sleeve if that's something that you want to do as well. We've got the third eye. We're quite drawn up here as well. There's a lot of stuff you can do. You can open up in regards to your third eye, but you're not grounded enough. You're not shielded enough. So if it's something you do want to do to help, where am I going in life? What's happening? Can I do X, Y, Z? Make sure you have your energy field in good capacity. So that's through clearing and shielding your energy, grounding, all that sort of stuff you want to do. We've got something here with the staff. Staff is symbolic normally to a leader or, where we're going in life, things like that. You want to find what your staff is, whether it's yourself, another person, a situation, an item, something like that. Find out what your staff is. So when you get to a hurdle, that staff is what gets you over that hurdle, if that makes sense. And a lot of the time, it's the person. The person needs to heal themselves. The person needs to build themselves back up so they get that, steel backbone and to that zest for life to push forward, things like that. You want to find what that staff is that makes you push yourself. So we talk about yoga. Now, yoga is a spiritual fitness. If it's something where you've wanted to jump back in and you've wanted to, on the fitness level, on the health side, I would really suggest to do yoga. Now, it is more of a feminine thing and it's got a bit of a stigma where it's about females, but it's really good for men too. If you've had aches and pains, you've worried about weight or things like that, I really, on one side, suggest yoga. On the other side, we talk about yoga. Yoga is spiritual fitness. It's not just for health fitness. It's for the mind. Things like that. So if you want to do stuff in regards to becoming more spiritual, look at ideas, practice things, go out and buy yourself a tarot deck and do practices, things like that. Because the key of what gets us through is confidence. If we do not have confidence in spiritual, in any form of our life, we break down. Confidence is key in any scenario. So this is something that I would suggest for you as well. You do really want to work on shielding and clearing your energy, because we look over here at the aura. That's what makes us, our energy field, our aura field. That's what keeps us safe. If that is low or almost non-existent, we get sick, we get depressed, we get a lot of mental illness can come in and stuff like that. So that's why it's always good to shield yourself, to keep that energy barrier there, if that makes sense. You want to detach from drama, crap that has been going on in your life. If there's situations where there's back and forwards, some things where it can be a little bit like high schooler, things like this is mine, this is yours, blah, blah, blah. Detach from that. Get that sword that's down here and cut ties. Go, I'm not doing this anymore. This isn't happening. Let's sort something out, But detach from drama, whether that's friends, that's family, your loved ones and things like that. Really go through and think about it, all these sort of scenarios to go, you know what? I'm detaching from that, because drama is just negative energy. You really want to do that. So this is something that I would suggest for you with ideas, things like that. So you're more than welcome after I load this up. What I'll do is I'll send you the link, so A, you've always got it. B, you're more than welcome to message me if there's anything that you don't understand or you're a little bit confused about, or you want to have a little bit of a chat. You're more than welcome to. So I really hope this resonated with you, and I hope it made sense to you. Definitely write these things down. Keep this video around, because what happens is some things, if they don't resonate there, if they don't kind of really make sense to you, they will in a couple of months. So it's always good to keep hold of the cards and things like that. So I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy your day. Okay, bye.